Good afternoon, Javier Franco, perspective from my porch, steps for success, life coach, founder. I'm sitting here in the small town of Roscoe under a shade tree, beautiful shade tree, gets a lot of shade right now. And I like coming out here to think about the different things that are going on and how I need to readjust. As I was talking to a friend today, and we're talking about the mistakes that we've made in life and how we have hopefully grown. And as I was talking to her, I was thinking to myself, we've all made mistakes in our lives. We've all gone through something, and how we react to those mistakes is very important. Uh, if we react in a negative way, if we just sit there and just pout, then we're not going to get nowhere. And I know sometimes it's really frustrating to move on, and it's really frustrating, and it's hard to move on to the next step. I realize that. I've been helping one of my adopted kids do a project over here on the land that she's at, and it's been mistake after mistake after mistake. And there's times that I just sit here and I look at it and I was like, okay, now what's the problem? And somebody will come up and say, this is the problem, and I was like, and I'll change it. I don't like doing it sometimes, but they tell me to do it because it's like, but this is what I've done, and it doesn't matter because it's gonna be corrected. And you know what? It got done. It got corrected, and we moved on. It's hard for us as human beings to accept us help from others, or the closest people that we have. It's hard for us to accept their opinion as to what we need to do. And sometimes when they give us that advice, we don't like it because of the fact that um, we don't want to hear from them. We want to hear from everybody else, but we don't want to hear from them. The sad part about it is those people who are around us are the people that we need to listen to. Okay, there's going to be a train passing right by here. It's going to be really loud. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm going to try to talk over it, but it's a Union Pacific. The railroad is right there, so I'll apologize if you can't hear me. I'm going to talk a little bit louder and get the phone a little closer to me. As we make those mistakes in life, as we adjust to the situations that we have to learn from those mistakes. It's painful. A lot of times it's very painful, but you know what? That pain is what makes us successful, or that pain is what makes us grow. That pain is what makes us a better person and a stronger person. The things that we go through will teach us things, will teach us how to be a better person. As I was talking to this young lady, I was talking to her about how the mistakes that we've made have made us a bit better person. But also, I added to that, I watch people and I learn from their mistakes. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but it's like, you know what? I don't want to do it like they did. I want to do it different because I don't want to fail. I don't know if that's natural or if that's weird or just not right for me to do, but you know what? I want to learn from other people as to what they're doing wrong, so that hopefully I don't repeat the same thing over and over. I learn from people. I learn from watching them. I learn from listening to them. I hear their talks. I hear what they're going through, and then a lot of times I'll say, "So how did you overcome it?" And then they'll say, "Well, this way, this way, this way." A lot of times, because of the religious background, they'll say, "Oh, prayer and God got me to that point." Here's the problem with a lot of people in today's society, and one of my kids and I were talking about this. One of my adopted kids, we were talking about that in today's society, there's a lot of people who don't believe in God. They don't believe in prayer, and they're just out there and they're going, and that's their life. That's what they're going to do. And life has changed so much over the years that people are making the same mistakes over and over, and they're so frustrated. In today's world, there's so many people who are frustrated because they keep failing, they keep making mistakes, but they never change the pattern. They never change the path that they're walking through. Barbara Jordan, one of the great lawmakers, to me, one of the best lawmakers that was in Texas. In her funeral, when she passed away, one of the things they said was, too many people climb the ladder of success only to find out that they've climbed the wrong building, the wrong ladder. How many times have I climbed that ladder of success, got to the top and said, no, this is where I'm supposed to be. And I look over and like, oh my, I'm supposed to be doing it that way. No wonder I struggled so much, because this is not where I belonged. As I do my work with my flea market and the other business that I have, as I do that, I find myself making mistakes constantly. And then at some point, I sit down, I go somewhere by myself in the middle of nowhere, and I'll sit there and think, I'll think, what am I doing wrong? And I'll try my best to figure it out and think, okay, this is my new plan. Years ago, I was at a football game between two rival teams. One team passed, and the other team, they just could not defend the pass. And the team that passed, they knew it, and they used it to their advantage. But at the same time, the team that could not defend the pass, they couldn't pass anyway, so they ran the ball. And they ran the clock. And if you understand sports, the clock is very important. As they were going, they made the touchdown. And then the next thing you know, the other team was passing, 3 or 4 plays, they would score. The first team, there you go. They get the ball and they run, and they finally got to the goal line and they completed the goal. I heard something from Whitney Phipps, I think Whitney Phipps, I think that's his name. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing his name right. And he said that somebody told him one day, if the mountainside was not rough, you wouldn't have a way to climb up. If it's smooth, you're just going to slide off. Meaning that in life, we're going to go up there's a song that says, I'm climbing up the rough side of the mountain. Well, we have to climb that rough side. In that analogy I gave about the football team, what happened eventually was that the team that was passing, they got intercepted. And then the other team just played their game, and they finally made the goal. They came back and won the game. And it is not because, if anything else, but because they adjusted to the situation and they made a victory out of it. We have to learn to adjust to the situation. This friend I was talking to, the things that we were talking about is how she has adjusted to her situation. I'm telling her how I've adjusted to my situation and how we have decided to make a difference in our lives. A difference in our lives. Not a difference in your life, not a difference in everybody else's life, a difference in my life, a difference in their lives. When you make changes, make sure those changes are for you and not for everybody else. If they're for everybody else, you're going to fail. Make the changes that you want for yourself. I was told one day, in order for you to lose weight, first of all, you have to admit that you have to lose weight. Second of all, you have to make the mindset that you're going to lose weight. The third thing is that you do it for yourself, not for everybody else. Not for the doctor, not for your husband, not for your wife, not for your friends. You do it for yourself. Because once you start doing it for yourself, that means that you care about how you look. And that's what I was told. Whether I agree with it or not, that's not a question there. But as we change our mindset to do better in our lives, we have to change our mindset not to make the same mistakes over and over. As we grow mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, as we get stronger, let's remember those mistakes that we're making so that we can get stronger. Most of y'all know that I use a walker and a cane a lot of times, most of the time. The mistake that I made is that one day I wasn't using the walker or the cane, and there goes Javier on the ground. I get up, somebody helps me up, and I learn from my mistakes. So from that point, I use a cane or a walker. we have to change our mindset. The mindset of, oh, I don't want to use that cane. I don't want to use that walker because people are going to, you know what? It doesn't matter what people say. I was telling this friend of mine today, as a matter of fact, I was telling her, so you know what? Some people either like me or just hate me. There's no in between. And people say, well, everybody likes me. No, not everybody likes me. Trust me, I have a lot of enemies. And they talk about me, and it's like, okay, how do you feel about that? I don't care. I mean, it doesn't bother me. And some people will say, well, they're talking about you. Well, at least they have something to talk about. I've learned the hard way that I can't change their mindset. I'm not going to kick them around. I'm not going to beg them to change their mindset. Eventually, if they change their mindset, they'll come back to me and I'll forgive them, or I've forgiven them already. It's whatever, you know. And that's the mindset that we have, that we have to change. And I guess that's my perspective today, that we have to change our mindset and become better people for ourselves. As I do this perspective for my porch, today, of course, I'm not on a porch, I'm under a tree. As I do these and I talk, I'm thinking to myself, that's true. I need to change certain things. So I even learn from myself. One of the things that I was telling this young lady was that the mistakes that others make, I watch them and I learn from them. And the mistakes that you're making, I'm going to learn from them so that I don't follow in those footsteps. But the thing about it, I'm going to grow by somebody else's mistake, hoping that they're going to grow as well, hoping that they're going to get stronger as well. As I close out, let me remind you, change your mindset if you're continually failing. I think in today's society, we continually fail and everybody accepts it and is like, okay, that's the best you can do. No, we have to do better. You have to do better. You have to continually think, I can do this. I'm training a dog right now. I got a dog, Fred, this is his name. And Fred is stubborn sometimes. Fred does not like riding in my pickup. And I don't blame him. I don't have an air conditioner. But now I say, Fred, get in the truck. Fred, get in the truck. And I pick him up. I have to pick him up. Today, I opened the door. I said, Fred, please get in the truck. He jumps in. I was like, success. We rewarded him. I praised him. And we went on. As I was thinking about that, it was like, how many times do I praise myself for the things that I accomplish? How many times do you praise yourself and pat yourself on the back and say, good job there, buddy? We have to praise ourselves. We have to believe in ourselves. Believe in yourselves. Know that you can do it. Change your mindset. Change the way you think so that you can do better, so you can change your life. Javier Franco, perspective from my porch. I'll talk to y'all later. Love y'all. Bye-bye.